Cricket Without Boundaries started in 2005 as a UK charity. It initially was an idea to coach cricket in Africa, which then developed by looking at the HIV/AIDS awareness problems and the scale of the problem in sub-Saharan Africa. We realised it was impossible to coach cricket without trying to link it in some way to AIDS awareness. And we realised that somehow this hadn't really been thought of in any great depth before. So we were determined to try and link the two and take that forward. As a charity, we have to have certain objects, so we have to have certain things that we're trying to do. What we want to do is to develop cricket, so that involves several different parts. Part of it is in coaching children, so trying to enthuse children, trying to get them playing the game. Part of it is training adults, so that there is a sustainable aim there. So we want to work with adults, train them in how to coach cricket so they can continue doing it after a project is finished. Then the second huge goal is to link cricket to AIDS awareness. So in all of our projects there is always a huge part which is AIDS awareness and cricket. How can the two link? How can cricket be used to help promote HIV/AIDS awareness? We work with the International Cricket Council because we develop an ICC course. We also work with the cricket authorities in each country and also with the British High Commission. So we forge links at all different levels there, ranging from right on the ground with the cricket authority up to the international body. And the reason why we do that is that we think that there are lots of different ways that those bodies can interlink, and CWD can help them to perhaps work in ways that they haven't already. In particular, the link between the British High Commission and, well, Foreign Office generally, and the cricket authorities, because there's always a desire for them to work together, but they haven't necessarily found the best way of doing that, so we try to help them with that. The first Cricket Without Boundaries project started in 2005 to 2006 and involved coaching in 7 different countries from Cairo to Cape Town. We went into Egypt, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana, Namibia. And then we did end up in Cape Town, but there wasn't actually a project in South Africa. Since then, we have been back to Uganda, Kenya and Rwanda. The idea of that is that whilst obviously we'd like to expand in the future, we're all about sustainability, so we want to work with a limited number of countries at the moment and try and develop there to a certain level.
In sub-Saharan Africa, in 2007 there were around 2.1 million deaths from AIDS, and in the same year around 2.8 million people were infected with HIV. So it's a huge problem, and when we started looking about cricket development and linking it with AIDS awareness, that became really apparent, and so we had to design tools which would help change behaviour, because these issues are dealt with at school, they're dealt with in advertising, they're pretty prevalent in African society, but it's still not changing behaviours. So sport's a great way at just coming in, looking at it from a different approach, and the coach is a very good person to give health messages, is a role model, is someone people look up to.
We've set up very good relations now with Rwanda, also with Uganda and Kenya, working with cricket authorities, also working with the International Cricket Council. And in those countries we've achieved several goals, one of which is the number of adults who we've trained in how to coach. So we've left behind a legacy of really quite a few hundred adults who can now coach cricket, at least to a basic level, and some of them to a higher level. They are ICC qualified coaches, and on the more structural side, what we've done with Rwanda is we're helping them to develop their cricket authority. We've put in place a memorandum of understanding where we have committed to sending projects to them, sending volunteers to help them with their development each year, as long as they hit their own development goals.
In each country we work with, we look to find some local partners on the ground who we can work with. We work through the ICC to have links to the governing bodies of sport of cricket in each country, so the Rwanda Cricket Association, Uganda Cricket Association and Cricket Kenya, and they're key partners for us in making sure what we do is sustainable. We also work through the British High Commission, the FCO, to have support logistically and to enhance the projects that we deliver there. And working with local partners is crucial for us because we're UK based and we haven't got the people on the ground in Africa, and it's really important that what we do carries on after we leave, and it's through those partners that we can achieve that. A key element of sustainability is finding local people who can help grow things after we've left through the cricket associations. And in Rwanda we found some amazing people who are doing that, and in the first year in Rwanda we trained 12 ICC coaches. When we went back for the second year, all 12 of them were coaching in a local school. They've all been allocated a school and they've got that school playing cricket and entering competitions. What we deliver each time we go to a country changes slightly, because our key aim is that when we work over there, we don't go and do work in isolation, we enhance what's already there. So for example in Rwanda they have 5 cricket teams in their league, and our aim is to try and get 6, 7, 8 cricket teams in their league to grow that. We do that essentially through, to start with, infusing people about cricket, so running holiday courses, going into local government schools and trying to encourage people and spread the word of cricket, and that cricket is a positive thing. We then also educate and empower local people to become coaches, to become umpires, to become scorers, and the ICC have authorised us to deliver ICC coach education courses, so we can go with tutors and we can train level 1 and 2 coaches, and that's really valuable in terms of leaving a legacy after we leave. We tend to finish each project by trying to celebrate what we've done by having some kind of festival where the children that we've worked with and the adults that we've trained can all come together and have a bit of a festival and have a bit of a celebration at the end of it. And the key to it is that we deliver that in a cricket development sense, and integrated throughout it is our AIDS awareness messages. So everything we do has AIDS awareness messages built into it, as opposed to being an add-on at the end.
First thing is to get the ABC message across through not only coaching the coaches to make sure they integrate those messages when they teach the kids, but also to the kids themselves. Now, the ABC message is: if you abstain from sex, you won't contract AIDS. If you can't abstain, you should be faithful to one person, and whatever happens, you should use C, which is condoms. So they're the 3 messages that people are very familiar with, but what they won't necessarily have come across is using sport to give those messages a different way of getting across. People often ask, well, what's the link between cricket and AIDS? They don't see the obvious link, and I guess looking through our Western eyes there probably isn't one. But when you stop at it and look on the ground what's happening in Africa, it becomes really obvious. There is a huge link, and the power that sport can play in altering behaviours. Because, for example, in Botswana, there's an infection rate so it's near 40% of people and the adult population of HIV/AIDS. That's huge. So once you start thinking in those terms, any means of getting a message across is vital. For example, abstinence. Cricket's fantastic for that, because you can talk about abstaining from playing a stupid shot or leaving the ball for batting. So in life you only get one chance. In batting you only get one chance as well. You've only got one wicket, your wicket, so you don't throw it away. So you abstain. And then be faithful to your team, or be faithful to your partner. You can do a brilliant illustration of running between the wickets where you have the batsman who hits the ball, and at the non-striker's hand he's got about 6 or 7 partners. So you can show what happens with the chaos. You see 6 or 7 people running one way or not, inevitably get run out. So again, be faithful to one person, be faithful to your teams. And then C, condoms is again fairly obvious. You can use a bat or you can use your pads, because without protection you can't bat, and without protection with condom you'll get sick and you'll get ill. So what you can do there is you can set 2 people batting, 1 person without a bat and 1 person with a bat, and you get someone to bowl, and it's a really visual way of getting across that very powerful image. Believe it or not, stigma is absolutely huge in Africa. If you have the disease, you're shunned, particularly for women. So what we try and do is make sure the kids who have AIDS, and we won't necessarily know whether they do or not, but everyone plays together. There is no stigma. In sport, again, not just cricket, sport can play a really powerful role in that. So what we try and do is make sure the boys and girls play together, and in theory, the boys and girls play together, you become friends, you're less likely to sleep with your friend. So that's another way. of helping alter behaviour, and it's great for the gender equality. You have a 16-year-old girl, they tend to be a bit bigger than the 16-year-old boys, smashing the ball around the park. I think it's great for sort of building that equality.
We initially started by the 3 of us trustees delivering the project. Clearly in the long term that's not sustainable. So we now worked a model where we recruit people to deliver the project for us in Africa. And that's a model that works fantastically for us because we find some amazingly dedicated and committed people who have great skills to go out to Africa and deliver some fantastic projects. And that's as coaches, as cameramen, as umpires, as scorers, as teacher trainers, but also unqualified people who can help with the coaching, assist with the coaching and help with the logistics on the ground.
Well, I got an email from Warwickshire County Cricket Club with the advert about the work that CWB was doing and asking to volunteer. And I just thought, well, that looks like a pretty cool thing to do. I enjoy cricket, I enjoy coaching cricket. I was pretty new to coaching cricket, and the thought of going out to Africa and actually doing something with the skill that I've learned here abroad, that was really appealing. So I thought, put an application together and see where it goes. It took me about 30 seconds to decide to do it. Well, right from the beginning, the guys were really good at giving you a lot of information. You kind of think, I've got no expectations of what's going to happen and just see how it goes, but I felt quite prepared for getting to Africa and dealing with what might happen there. Since then, it's been really good to keep in contact with them, to just see how the project's developing, and I've also been trying to just get involved back here and do some bits and pieces with them. They're so enthusiastic about it, it's kind of not a difficult thing to want to join in and get involved. When we got there, we'd look at who we got, which kids turned up, how many kids we'd got, whether we could actually find somewhere to play cricket for the day. We always managed to share the space with the footballers. And then we'd get on looking at what we were going to do, what work we were going to do. Typically, we'd start off by taking some of the teenagers who we were coaching to be coaches and teaching them some skills. And then the whole idea was that in the afternoon, they put those skills into practice with the masses of children who'd sort of drop in and drop out during the day and just want to play a bit of cricket. As a volunteer, what we tended to do was play it by ear, and we'd split up into groups. Some people would go off and do the work with the coaches. Others of us would just really play a bit of cricket with the kids who turned up and try and have as much fun as possible. What was really great was that each day was different. Each day was a different situation, a different challenge, a different group of people. But then throughout the week, there was some constants. There was the same teenagers turning up, the same people who were coaching to be coaches, getting to know them, sitting around having a chat in breaks and things like that. So really good fun. Oh, I'd highly recommend it. I mean, even if you don't have any sort of formal cricket skills, but you just really enjoy the game and you want to actually do something different, and really if you want to go out to Africa and see what that's like, I'd recommend it. I'd definitely say do your homework, be prepared for what you think it's going to be like and what you think you're going to expect when you get out there. But as an experience and just feeling that you've taken something away from it, it's just brilliant.
If people want to help or get involved in whatever way they can, that's absolutely fantastic. We're always looking not only for volunteers to go out and do the projects, but for people to come and spread the message in this country, for people to help donate. If you go onto our website, which is cricketwithoutboundaries.com, you'll see all the information about not only the charity and what we do, but how to volunteer, how to donate, and in what way you can play a part in what we think is a fantastic charity.
Cricket is a wonderful sport to play, to bring people together, to have fun and to learn from each other, regardless of their background, regardless of their sex, regardless of their age, and it's a great sport to be able to do that.